Welcome to our YouTube channel, Infinite Mindset, particularly when your abilities alone aren't sufficient. This video is about the vital thoughts in harmony reasoning and how they connect with 10 propensities that can make your brain more fragile. In the event that we learn and utilize these lessons, we can begin an excursion to make our brain more grounded and more ready to return from difficult stretches. Having a negative outlook. The bright sun of our inner happiness is obscured by a cloud of negativity. A propensity makes us intellectually powerless in light of the fact that it colors everything in our existence with shades of misery and despondency. We miss out on the positive things that are going on around us when we constantly focus on the negative. It resembles wearing dull glasses. Everything seems faint, even the delightful minutes. Assuming we're continuously thinking adversely, we begin accepting that everything is terrible and that achievement and satisfaction are unimaginable. This psychological standpoint turns into an unavoidable outcome, impacting our activities and choices. We might become hesitant to take risks, or on the other hand, attempt new things since we've persuaded ourselves they'll fall flat. To beat a negative mentality, we can go to the lessons of harmony. Mindfulness, or paying attention to our thoughts without judging them, is one important concept. Rather than allowing negative contemplations to assume control over, we can recognize them and afterward decide to zero in on sure viewpoints. It resembles clearing away the mists to let the daylight through. Propensity number 2, grumbling about things unchangeable as far as you might be concerned. Griping about things unchangeable as far as we might be concerned is like clutching a hot coal. It just damages us. This propensity debilitates our brains since it puts our emphasis on what's going on as opposed to on tracking down arrangements. It resembles stalling out in a sand trap. The more we whine, the further we sink into antagonism. The lessons of harmony shed light on why this propensity makes us intellectually powerless and how we can break liberated from its hold. At the point when we gripe, we frequently disregard temporariness, a major thought in harmony, that everything is continuously evolving. Whining will in general cause us to accept that things won't ever improve, catching us in that frame of mind of discontent. We make challenges appear to be ongoing issues rather than temporary ones. To defeat the propensity for grumbling, we can rehearse acknowledgement. This implies understanding that life has high points and low points. Also, not everything is under our control. Acknowledgement is like figuring out how to move in the downpour as opposed to grumbling about the tempest. We free ourselves from the heavy burden of constant complaining by accepting what we cannot change. Harmony theory likewise urges us to zero in our energy on things we have some control over. It resembles guiding a boat in a tempest. We may not control the climate, but rather we can explore our vessel. By making a move where we have power, we move from an uninvolved, whining mode to a functioning, critical thinking mentality. In the lessons of harmony, giving up is another strong practice, like letting go of a balloon. We feel lighter. At the point when we let go of superfluous weights, giving up doesn't mean surrendering. It implies delivering the firm grasp on grumblings and permitting space for positive change. By integrating these harmony standards into our lives, we figure out how to move toward difficulties with a fair psyche, tolerating the fleetingness of circumstances and centering our endeavors. In doing as such, we free ourselves from the grasp of objections and develop a psychological strength that impels us forward, even notwithstanding difficulty. The third vice is not being yourself. Not putting yourself out there is like having a money box, however keeping it locked away. This propensity debilitates our brains since it stops us from sharing our considerations, sentiments, and thoughts with the world. Exploring a dull room without turning on the light is like difficult. Things get befuddling and overpowering. The lessons of harmony guide us to comprehend the reason why this propensity makes us intellectually feeble and how we can break liberated from its limitations. In harmony reasoning, Communicating one's thoughts legitimately is viewed as fundamental for building serious areas of strength for AI for mental prosperity. At the point when we keep down our viewpoints and feelings, it resembles restraining a bubbly beverage. The tension forms, and in the end, it could detonate. This blast could be as pressure, uneasiness, or a sensation of being overpowered on the grounds that we haven't let out what's inside. The act of right discourse in harmony urges us to speak with truth, benevolence, and care. It resembles sowing seeds of inspiration. At the point when we talk, our words can develop into a nursery of understanding and association. By adjusting our words to these standards, we fabricate a scaffold among ourselves as well as other people, encouraging true connections. To defeat the propensity for not communicating one's thoughts, care turns into an important instrument. Care resembles a mirror. It mirrors our considerations and assists us with becoming mindful of our sentiments. We can observe our thoughts without judging them and express ourselves with clarity and compassion by being present in the moment. It can likewise include non-verbal correspondence, like non-verbal communication and motions. These implicit articulations resemble a mysterious language, conveying our sentiments and contemplations in any event when we don't let out the slightest peep. By monitoring our non-verbal correspondence, we improve our capacity to really articulate our thoughts. By coordinating these harmony lessons into our lives, we discover that credible articulation isn't just freeing for ourselves, yet in addition, adds to the prosperity of people around us. It is comparable to opening a window to let in fresh air. Communicating our thoughts permits the radiance of understanding and association with light up our psychological space. Of not communicating our thoughts, we set out on an excursion towards credibility, fabricating a strong and engaged mind. Propensity number 4, faulting others for your concerns. Faulting others for our concerns is like attempting to run a race with a knapsack brimming with rocks. It burdens us and eases back our advancement because it reduces our authority. It resembles giving the directing wheel of our life to another person as opposed to driving ourselves. The lessons of harmony enlighten why this propensity makes us intellectually powerless and how we can unwind ourselves from attempted finger-pointing. In harmony reasoning, the idea of harmony instructs us that our activities have results. Accusing others resembles overlooking this regulation. It's refusing to acknowledge that we influence the course of our own lives. At the point when we fault, we become like onlookers as opposed to dynamic members in our excursion. Assuming individual liability is tied in with understanding that we have the capacity to shape our encounters. It resembles being the commander of our boat. We might confront storms, however we can explore through them. At the point when we fault others, it's like saying, we have no control, yet truly we do. We give ourselves the power to make good decisions when we accept the idea that our actions matter. Forgiveness is an essential part of breaking the pattern of placing blame. Absolution isn't tied in with saying, what others did is okay. It's tied in with letting ourselves out of the weight of conveying hatred. It resembles putting down a weighty rucksack. We feel lighter and more liberated. Excusing others and ourselves is a strong step towards recovering our moral obligation. Care, a vital practice in harmony, assists us with becoming mindful of our viewpoints and activities. It resembles focusing a light on a dull way. We can see where we're going by being careful. We can get ourselves when we're enticed to fault. Furthermore, pick a really engaging reaction. This shift from fault to liability resembles exchanging the stones in our knapsack for wings that assist us with taking off. Integrating these harmony standards into our lives welcomes us to step into our power and assume responsibility for our excursion. Breaking liberated from attempted finger-pointing isn't just about considering others responsible. It's tied in with perceiving our office and capacity to shape a positive and strong outlook. By directing away from fault and embracing moral obligation, we leave on an excursion towards mental strength and self-strengthening. Propensity number 5, fantasizing as opposed to imagining. Fantasizing as opposed to imagining resembles building impractical plans. They may be delightful, yet they come up short on strong groundwork. This propensity debilitates our brains since it separates us from the truth of our current second. It resembles pursuing delusions in a desert, and we might, in all likelihood, never arrive at what we're longing for. Zen's teachings shed light on how and why this habit weakens our minds. We can move from dreams to representation for a more grounded and positive mentality. Dreams frequently include unreasonable situations and living in fantasy land. It resembles anticipating a treasure that could very well be impossible to obtain, but still worth working for, a lovely thought, yet not situated as a general rule. At the point when we become mixed up in dreams, it's like fantasizing, while passing up the magnificence of the current second. This propensity debilitates us since it can prompt dissatisfaction when reality doesn't line up with our envisioned situations. Representation, then again, includes making mental pictures of attainable objectives. Having a treasure map is similar. We can graph a course. Harmony reasoning underscores the significance of right goal and smart activity, which line up with imagining positive results and moving toward acknowledging them. By establishing our desires in actuality, we overcome any issues among dreams and attainable objectives. The lessons of fleetingness in harmony advise us that change is a consistent. Dreams frequently include sticking to a decent thought, representing things to come, while perception adjusts to the consistently moving scene of life. It resembles riding a wave. Rather than attempting to clutch the shore, we move with the progression of life. We develop a mindset that is more adaptable and resilient when we acknowledge the impermanence of everything. To beat the propensity for fantasizing, care turns into a significant device. Like putting on glasses, assist us with seeing the present obviously. We become mindful of our viewpoints. What's more, delicately guide them towards positive and reasonable perception. Care permits us to see the value in the magnificence of the current second, while effectively pursuing our objectives. Integrating these harmony lessons into our lives urges us to move from dreams to perception, cultivating a more certain and grounded outlook. By embracing the standards of fleetingness, right expectation, and care, we bring an end to liberated from the propensity for developing impractical plans. Perception turns into a strong partner, assisting us with showing positive real factors and explore the excursion of existence with reason and strength. No time for personal relationships is the sixth habit. Ignoring individual connections resembles having a nursery, however, neglecting to water the plants. Over the long haul, everything shrivels away. This propensity debilitates our psyches since people are social creatures and significant associations give pleasure and backing. It is comparable to attempting to sail a boat without wind. We could move, yet it's a sluggish and forlorn excursion. We can learn how to cultivate stronger connections through the gift of time and why this habit makes us mentally weak through the teachings of Zen. Dismissing unique interactions resembles shutting the way to a warm and inviting home. We pass up the solace. Also, support that connections can give. At the point when we don't set aside a few minutes for our friends and family, it resembles dismissing a nursery. The weeds of misconception and distance begin to develop. This propensity debilitates our brains since we might feel detached without the sustenance of affection and friendship. Relationship building and upkeep take time and effort, similar as keeping an eye on a nursery to make it prosper. To beat the propensity for disregarding private connections, we can begin by being available. For relationships, presence is like sunshine. When we spend quality time with our loved ones, it helps them thrive. It resembles watering the plants consistently. It sustains the bonds and fortifies our association. Correspondence is one more indispensable part of sustaining connections. Like the breeze fills the sails of a boat, moving us forward. Like the water that keeps the garden of relationships vibrant and alive. Taking the time to listen and share our thoughts and feelings. By being open and informative, we encourage understanding and develop our associations. Harmony reasoning urges us to perceive the fleetingness of life, including the time we have with our friends and family. It resembles enjoying a heavenly feast we valued more when we realize it won't endure forever. By understanding the transient idea of time, we become propelled to focus on connections and concentrate profoundly on those we care about. We are reminded of the similarities between personal relationships and the threads that make up our well-being when we incorporate these Zen teachings into our daily lives. By setting aside a few minutes for our friends and family, we develop an emotionally supportive network that reinforces our psyches and enhances our lives. Bringing an end to liberated from the propensity for dismissing individual connections permits us to explore the excursion of existence with friends close by, making the journey more upbeat and satisfying. Propensity number 7, allowing your feelings to lead you. Allowing feelings to control us resembles being moved by areas of strength for a current. We lose direction and control. This propensity debilitates our brains since feelings, when unmanaged, can become overwhelming and misguide us. It resembles being in a tempest without a compass. We could lose all sense of direction in the choppiness. The lessons of harmony guide us to comprehend the reason why this propensity makes us intellectually feeble and how we can foster capacity to appreciate anyone on a profound level, to explore the flows of our sentiments. In harmony theory, care is a strong practice that urges us to notice our feelings without moving cleared away by them. It resembles remaining on the stream bank and watching the water stream. We are able to observe our feelings without being submerged. At the point when we let our feelings rule us, it resembles being trapped in a tempest without an anchor. We get thrown around, and it becomes testing to track down our direction. The idea of the ability to appreciate anyone on a profound level includes perceiving, understanding, and dealing with our own feelings, as well as relating to the feelings of others. It resembles having a compass in the tempest. It assists us with exploring through difficulties and keep a consistent course. At the point when we let our feelings control us, it resembles giving over the guiding wheel to a fierce power, gambling, losing all sense of direction in the mayhem. To defeat the propensity for allowing feelings to control us, care turns into an important partner. Mindfulness is similar to a sturdy vessel. It assists us with exploring through the waves without inverting. By being available at the time and noticing our feelings with interest and non-judgment, we gain the capacity to answer astutely as opposed to responding imprudently. Harmony expert urges us to develop a fair psyche through rehearsals like cherishing generosity contemplation. It resembles sowing seeds of sympathy in our souls. These seeds develop into a nursery that permits us to answer feelings with benevolence, both towards ourselves as well as other people. We acquire a set of skills that enables us to comprehend, navigate, and learn from our emotions if we embrace emotional intelligence. We can break free from the habit of letting our emotions rule us by incorporating these teachings into our daily lives. We become captains of our emotional ships, steering with mindfulness and compassion, as opposed to being at the mercy of emotional storms. By developing capacity to understand people on a deeper level, we explore the oceans of sentiments with versatility, keeping a consistent course towards mental strength and prosperity. Propensity number 8, attempting to control everything resembles shuffling such a large number of balls. It's debilitating, and at last, we could drop them all. This propensity debilitates our brains because it sets us up for disappointment and frustration. It's like endeavoring to get the breeze, unimaginable and disappointing. The lessons of harmony expert aid us to comprehend the reason why this propensity makes us intellectually frail and how we can track down strengthening in the oddity of giving up control. The idea of non-attachment in Zen philosophy teaches us to let go of the illusion of control. It's like realizing that we can't cling to the sky. They are continuously changing and moving. At the point when we attempt to control everything, it's like attempting to clutch water. We feel powerless as it slips through our fingers. Giving up control doesn't mean surrendering. All things being equal, It implies perceiving the restrictions of our impact. It resembles sowing seeds in a nursery. They are cared for, but the weather is out of our control. Regardless of whether it rains or shines, our job is to take care of the garden. At the point when we acknowledge that a few things are outside of our reach, we free ourselves from the consistent battle, similar as delivering a firmly held clench hand. To beat the propensity for attempting to control everything, care turns into our partner. Care resembles a consistent anchor. It keeps us focused on the here and now. By zeroing in on what we can impact and relinquishing the rest, we explore the oceans of vulnerability with beauty and versatility. Harmony reasoning urges us to embrace the conundrum that giving up control prompts genuine strengthening. Like acknowledging, by relaxing our hold, we gain the solidarity to confront life's difficulties. At the point when we give the need over to control, it resembles opening our hands to get what life brings to the table, as opposed to gripping to our assumptions. Integrating these lessons into our lives welcomes us to deliver the weight of attempting to control everything. By giving up the deception of control, we perplexingly find strengthening, similar to a sail getting the breeze, driving us forward with a feeling of opportunity. Ending liberated from a propensity for constantly hovering over each part of life, we find the strength that comes from embracing the rhythmic movement of presence. Choosing not to move on resembles conveying a weighty knapsack, loaded with old stuff. It dials us back and makes the excursion harder. This propensity debilitates our psyches, since it keeps us caught in what's now occurred, keeping us from completely partaking in the present or anticipating what's in store. We're probably going to miss the thing that's inevitably coming. The Lessons of Harmony expert assist us with understanding the reason why choosing not to move on makes us intellectually frail, and how we can break liberated from these chains. The practice of mindfulness teaches us to be present in the here and now, according to Zen philosophy. It resembles opening the windows to allow in natural air, getting out the stodginess free from choosing not to move on. At the point when we harp on what's behind us, it's like attempting to walk in reverse. We may stumble and get lost. By relinquishing the past, we make space for new encounters and open doors. Choosing not to move on likewise attaches us to injuries from a long time ago and complaints. It resembles keeping an injury canvassed in a wrap long after it is recuperated. It obstructs us from completely embracing life. Harmony reasoning urges us to rehearse pardoning for other people, yet additionally for ourselves. Absolution resembles opening the entryway. To deliver the past, it permits us to step into the present, unburdened. The lessons of fleetingness in harmony reasoning remind us that nothing stays the same. It resembles watching a stream. The water never remains something very similar. It's like trying to freeze the river when we cling to the past. It becomes stale and loses its essentialness. By recognizing the fleetingness of all things, we free ourselves from the chains that tight spot us to previous encounters. To defeat the propensity for choosing not to move on, self-sympathy is pivotal. It resembles offering a thoughtful word to a companion out of luck. We merit a similar graciousness. By treating ourselves with empathy and understanding, we break liberated from the willful jail of disappointment and responsibility. The past turns into an educator instead of a guard. Integrating these lessons into our lives engages us to relinquish the chains that tight spot us to the past. By embracing care, pardoning, and self-empathy, we make a way towards freedom. Ending liberated from a propensity for choosing not to move on permits us to step into the present with daintiness and receptiveness, prepared to embrace the unfurling snapshots of our lives. 10th behavior. Stressing over what others say and do resembles hefting around a weighty rucksack loaded up with others' viewpoints. It loads our brains and frustrates our legitimacy. This propensity debilitates us since it attaches our self-esteem to outer suppositions, such as cruising a boat that is thrown around by each passing wave. The lessons of harmony. Expert deal bits of knowledge into why this propensity makes us intellectually powerless and how we can free ourselves from the shackles of consistent judgment. We are encouraged to practice equanimity in Zen philosophy, to stay adjusted in the midst of the changing tides of commendation and analysis. It resembles remaining on strong ground while the breezes of suppositions blow. We remain predictable when we stress a lot over what others say. It's like constructing our home on unstable ground. It becomes powerless against each passing tempest. By developing composure, we foster versatility despite outer decisions. Using other people's opinions to judge us is like giving someone else the mirror. We see ourselves through their eyes, not our own. Harmony reasoning shows the significance of self-acknowledgement and genuineness. It resembles wearing our Hashwan garments. We don't try to fit into someone else's clothes. Rather, we express ourselves honestly. We free ourselves from the constraints imposed by other people's expectations by letting go of the need for constant approval. Care, a focal topic in harmony theory, assists us with becoming mindful of our viewpoints and responses. It's like getting lost in a sea of opinions when we worry about what other people will say. We can use mindfulness as a lighthouse to help us return to our authentic selves. By being available at the time, we can notice these concerns without getting entrapped in them. To beat the propensity for stressing over others' perspectives, confidence turns into a strong cure. It resembles sowing seeds of thoughtfulness inside ourselves. These seeds develop into a nursery of self-acknowledgement. By perceiving our inborn worth and embracing our interesting characteristics, we construct a safeguard against the bolts of outer decisions. We are freed from the mental weakness that comes from worrying about what other people will say and do by incorporating these teachings into our lives. By rehearsing serenity, embracing legitimacy, and developing confidence, we break liberated from the chains that tight spot us to outside suppositions. Ending that propensity for consistent judgment permits us to explore our own course, directing towards a day-to-day existence directed by inward strength and validness. The Lessons of Harmony expert give an exhaustive manual for beating propensities that make us intellectually frail. By winding around care, sympathy, and insight into the texture of our regular routines, we can rise above regrettable examples and develop getting through mental strength. This investigation serves as an invitation to embark on a life-altering journey that incorporates the profound teachings of the Zen master into our everyday fabric. May the insight of these lessons enlighten the way to a strong and enabled mind, rousing a day-to-day existence loaded up with reason, sympathy, and satisfaction. Much obliged to you for going along with us on this excursion. Don't miss out on more of this kind of content if you found the lessons and the story to be meaningful to you. Buy into our channel to keep in touch and get regular updates with insightful stories and useful life lessons. Much thanks to you for your help, and we anticipate offering additional enabling stories to you. Keep in mind, each little step towards self-improvement counts. See you in our next video.